Hey there, Mount Hebron adults. I am really glad to spend a little more time with you today, our last Lenten devotional. We've been talking about restoration and reconciliation. Now, restoration, healing our relationship with God, reconciliation, healing our relationships with other people, whether or not we know we need it. And I think that's really important. The church has a call and a place because of Jesus' work of reconciliation, to set an example, to be the ones who lead in this area, to show that relationships can be healed, that gaps can be bridged. Look at what Jesus did, this huge gap created by sin that separated us from God. And Jesus, by his death and resurrection, bridged that gap so that we were reunited, restored in our relationship with God. Jesus calls us to find ways to be the bridge to other people and between other people every time we can. And that does take some active work. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what I want to talk a little bit about today is when. When is it good to work on reconciliation? When is it good to go ahead and move in the direction of restoring relationships, of building bridges, of making things right? When we have been hurt or when others have been hurt by something that we've done or said or failed to do or say. When we have let society go the way it is and not stood up for it. Just as an example of a time when reconciliation is needed, we've just heard in the news about an Asian American woman who was beaten in New York City. And security guards and others watched and even took videos, but they did not step in to help her. We don't want to go there, do we? We don't want that kind of thing to define who we are as a people, because Jesus never would have done that. So how do we know when to step in? How do we know when to start? Well, I heard recently the difference between wounds and scars, and I think this is really helpful. Wounds, of course, as you might guess, are the open, bleeding, seeping holes in us. We can talk about how they're wounds on our bodies and think about that metaphorically to our souls. Those wounds need active care, right? They need the bleeding stopped. They need that wonderful solution that our bodies put out that covers a wound so that it can heal underneath. Those things need to happen. And we can help with our antibiotic cream and other things. Wounds need active caring for. They need us to step back and say, I need to take care of this for myself. I need to honor what's going on inside of me. That's what our metaphorical wounds are like. Now, scars are a bit of a different thing. Scars have healed. We can still see a marker of what happened, but scars have healed. The wound is back together again. Everything has knit itself there. We just have that marker to remind us of what happened. Scars are more easy to revisit. When we try to heal a relationship when the wounds are still raw, we're ripping it open again. We're exposing ourselves to the pain and the suffering, or exposing the other person to it immediately again. Scars are markers of where the healing is already finished in large part. And so to go back and work on building the bridge and making the reconciliation is a little easier. It's a place where we can work person to person and say, you know, when this happened, or when you said that, or when this all occurred, here's how I felt. And here's how I'd like to talk about it and see if we can come to a new place together. That's what reconciliation looks like. And it's important to do it only after we've had the chance to heal the direct wound. Because then we can tolerate the deeper work that it takes to find a way to make that new relationship, to find a way to forgive, to let go, to shed those burdens and that pain finally. And then maybe God can do better with our souls than God does with our bodies. and be able to heal that scar even to where it doesn't show anymore. That's something that is definitely in God's capability, not ours. But the key is to know the difference between wounds and scars and to take stock of what you have. What are the wounds that you carry? The fresh ones that need the attention and the care to help them heal. What are the scars that are still there from not so long ago or from very long ago, that are places where there's reconciliation work to be done? Even if you can't do it with that person, sometimes you can do it by yourself and you find a way back to a better place, to a new place even, that brings greater hope and healing for you. I urge you to take stock these last few days of Lent. Jesus suffered many wounds and took on many scars for us, all willingly because of his love for us. What might we be carrying that we could let go of if we just ask God to help us find that restoration and that reconciliation in our lives? Have a blessed and meaningful rest of Holy Week leading into Easter.